everyone, and welcome to Sidebar Sessions. We are so excited, as always, to be back with you on Facebook Live. And also, I want to say hello to our YouTube audience as we are, for the first time, simulcasting to both Facebook Live and our Sweet Tea Gems YouTube page. So I'm here with my co-host,
Yes,
Sweet Tea, Teresa, my mother. How are you doing?
I am doing good. I had a pretty good day today. It was productive. I like when I'm productive.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. How was yours?
It was kind of a rat race, but
Mhm.
what's new? What's new? So I am going to give us just a second to get a few people on and share. If you're watching this, again, welcome, and we encourage you to share as well.
Yes, please do.
So, funny story. We just got a text message.
Okay, hold on. It's funny. I mean, okay, go ahead.
So my husband, he's searching for the Sweet Tea Gems page, right? Um, excuse me, y'all. I am sharing. Yes. So he sends me a text message. He's searching for the Sweet Tea Gems page, right? And he sends me a screenshot. He sends me a screenshot of the photos that come up when you search for Sweet Tea Gems, and several of them were previous sidebar sessions, which is to be expected. But one of them was a young man, a, a young man in some sort of thong jumpsuit. So I just want you to know, if you're watching this, that is not Sweet Tea Gems. There are no. It's just me and mom. There are no men, naked or otherwise, that are a part of Sweet.
Yes.
Oh
No
goodness,
strippers.
yes. Not
Oh,
those, not the family gems. No.
right. Not the family jewels. Gems.
Ah, ah, ah.
Oh goodness. Yes.
So, yeah, crazy times in America. The hackers get
Yeah.
everybody, including
Everybody. Nobody's exempt.
nobody. So, tonight, our topic is the state of the woman. So, tonight, we'll be talking about the state of women in America, right? So this is National Women's History Month, is designated by Congress in 1987. And if you saw the commercial, it's a great time for us to reflect on the accomplishments and celebrate the achievements of women, which we'll do some of that tonight. But it's also a good chance for us to assess where women are, where we stand in the current world, and how we move forward in the future. So, tonight we'll be discussing the state of affairs as it pertains to women's minds, our bodies, and our souls. Mom, any thoughts on that before we get started?
Just echoing, that the state of the woman has evolved over time, but it's good that this month has been recognized for the significance and the role that we play in society and our important stature. So that's what I.
Absolutely. And we encourage you, as you watch this broadcast, whether you're watching live with us or you're watching the replay, chime in. Tell us what you think. We are both two women from our walks of life, but this is a global thing. This is a widespread community, and we want to hear from you. And so we're also going to be asking you some questions to get you involved, and we may let some of you guys come on and chat with us. So just stay tuned. All
Yes.
right. Yes. So starting off, we're going to be dealing with um, the mind, the mental state of women. And we're going to start off first on the topic of education. So, in terms of education, statistically, we continue to be, I believe, the most educated group, um, most educated group in America. Statistically speaking, I believe even in the higher education sector, women now represent roughly 60% of enrollees in college, whereas men represent 40%, which is a big change from where it has lied historically. And it's also kind of been driven by the pandemic. Mom,
Mhm.
what are your thoughts on the state of women in education?
I see more and more women pursuing higher degree
Mm-hmm.
and not just stopping at 2 or 4 year colleges. You see many women going back to get masters and getting PhDs and specialist degrees, and so it's just that surge in that education. And like you were saying, especially during the pandemic, I think it gave people a chance to slow down and just reassess where they were, and especially if they lost a job or were downsized, or hours cut or what have you, then there was a need, or they saw that opportunity where, okay, I might as well just go ahead and go back to school or get something more, in order to set myself in a position to where I want to be, or even to move to that next level on where in the job that you currently at. So yes, you look back where it would traditionally men were getting education far more than we were, but now the percentage of women that have uh higher education has surpassed the men. So it's a great time. And then also you see more women pursuing STEM careers: science, technology, engineering, and math, which is great because we are definitely underrepresented in those areas. And so I love to see young women, and I like to see girls pursue those, start to get interested in the STEM careers, because they are more challenging, but they also, lucrative. I have to just say it. But like I said, we're highly underrepresented in those areas. So a lot of women now are beginning to pursue more STEM careers.
Well, let me pick your brain on that subject. We'll be talking a little bit more about that as we go through this section. But what does it mean for you, having been on that pioneering front of women pursuing STEM as an educational and career path? What does it mean for you to see it trending upward?
Oh, it's great because when I was in the corporate world, and of course I'm a STEM major, computer science major, and I was in the places that I worked, I was always the only woman. And, you know, also knowing that I was probably underpaid compared to men. I was also the only black. So I was the only black woman, okay, in my department all the time, no matter where I went. And that's a lonely feeling. You don't have, people to bounce ideas off of, you don't have that same sense of camaraderie. and you don't know if you're being, you know, you're not being treated fairly, but you don't know, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Um, so to see young women in these careers is very satisfying. It's very promising, to see where it has come from and to where it is now. And, you know, like I said, with the young girls coming up, going to these coding camps and these engineering camps, and, you know, getting engrossed at 7 and 8, it's amazing. It's amazing to me. So it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling.
So, if you're just joining us, again, we are here talking about the state of women, and we have just started our discussion dealing with education. And mom was just sharing her experience as a person with a formal STEM background, what it means to see that trending upward, which I think is a great segue to our discussion on careers and the state of economics for women. So, in terms of the workforce, looking at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, we are starting to see a tremendous impact of the past year on employment history. Not employment history, but employment statistics among women. So the January jobs report showed that 275,000 women left the workforce that month, compared with 71,000 men, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And since last February, nearly 2.4 million women have exited the labor market in total, which is different from the 1.8 million men who have left the workforce. And we cite things like, for instance, fewer women statistically have jobs that allow them to telecommute. There's been a strong burden on parents, especially single parents, who have childcare challenges, or one parent having to stay home to do the primary childcare duties during school closures and such. So, um, women have really borne the brunt of this pandemic driven recession in terms of the workforce. But amidst this, we've seen a lot of women show interest in career changes as a result, and starting businesses. A recent study by the, trying to make sure I get this correct, the Albright Collective, they surveyed their members, and 1 in 4 of their members was considering a career change this year, and 61% were looking to launch new ventures. So I think that this is lending a unique opportunity for women to reemerge in new areas of the workforce, and also to reemerge in the business sector. Um, it's a unique place because the types of industries, like with things being physically closed, it caused a big boom in the online sector. And that seems to be an area where women are thriving in the types of industries and businesses that we tend to open. There's also been a struggle for existing business owners to, remain open, but there's still promise there.
Yeah, I think they, when you say the existing, business owners, they found creative ways.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that are still surviving, um, and to use that online presence, as much as they could, in the type of business they have. But you're right, women uh, found a way to re-enter the workforce in a new way. or they started their own business, pretty much said, I'll bet on myself,
Right.
and then with the pandemic, with so many companies going virtual, they gave a lot of people opportunities to stay home permanently, to
Hmm.
a permanent virtual worker. So yeah, it created, even though it created some lack in areas for women, I think at the same time it created a lot of opportunities. And when I say it, we're talking about the pandemic, the entire 2020. And so it is, what's that say? It was the best of the worst of best of times and the worst of times. It really was. And even economically wise, some people actually did well, during the pandemic, but then there were lots that it was a severe downturn. So I think women, we have a unique way or perspective on things, and we're able to kind of turn bad situations. We kind of know how to make lemonade out of lemons, because we're resourceful by nature. So we look at things and say, okay, hey, how can we make this thing work to our advantage? And I think that's what a lot of women did, as far as, like you were saying, finding new careers or starting something, a business on their own, or back to what we were talking about, education, going back to school. You just figure out how to make it work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I do want to highlight one particular business owner who represents this, all of the cases that we just discussed. Actually, a high school classmate of mine, Dr. Nashley Cephas. She considers herself a tech evangelist. She works in AI for Amazon, but she is the founder and CEO of the Bean Path, which is a incubator and consulting firm for small businesses technology needs. And she is the spearhead for the Jackson Tech District, which is 12 acres of property that she has acquired in the downtown area of Jackson, a $25 million multi-use development. So I just wanted to take the time out to celebrate Dr. Cephas's accomplishments as an example of a woman in business, a woman in STEM who is excelling and doing wonderful things. So, you guys, as we talk, first of all, we welcome you if you just joined. But as we talk, hey, Grandma. I see some comments coming in. We welcome you to comment. We welcome you to drop some names of some women and some companies that have really done some wonderful things this year, because we have to support each other. We have to support each other.
We have to. We have to.
One statistic that jumped out at me was related to um, women just in business, Black women in business. During the pandemic, woman-owned businesses definitely took very much, um, very much a hit. Black women represent 42% of all net new woman-owned businesses. So there were a lot of women that looked like us that struck out and either became entrepreneurs full-time or sidepreneurs. But when it came to things like PPP and other kinds of assistance, there were a lot of hoops that a lot of the smaller businesses, especially minority owned businesses, struggled with at this time. So I think it's important for us, where it's appropriate, to reach out and seek out and support those businesses.
And saying that, I've noticed that when you go to some shopping aggregates or shopping sites, there are now like links that say Black owned businesses, and which you're able to trickle down and find, which I love. I really, really like that, because you're right. We have to support one another. And there are excuse me, so many um, businesses, and especially Black women-owned businesses, that didn't survive during the pandemic or are struggling as a result of it. And so, where you can, when you can,
Mm-hmm.
support um, those type businesses.
Right, right. Because they can't stay open if we don't buy y'all.
Don't buy. You don't buy. They cannot survive. They cannot survive.
So speaking of those resources, let's see if I can find this photo very quickly. We wanted to highlight a few different resources for careers in terms of grants and different sources of funding. We have the Small Business Association, that's a very good resource for that, as well as there are several different small business grants. Independent of that, grants.gov is another resource to seek out. Challenge.gov is a place where federal agencies ask small businesses for help solving public problems. Grantsforwomen.org is another resource that is available. And mom, while we're talking about pivoting in the workforce, one sector that's growing is working from home, just due to the challenges that we discussed with childcare and women having to leave for not being able to telecommute. But there's hope. Will you talk about that?
Yes. I'll kind of backtrack a little. Once I left the corporate world, I started working from home, and I term myself an information junkie by nature. I'm always searching and always searching and always searching. And I came up on opportunities where you're considered, now is called independent contracting, where you may do project oriented tasks or jobs for different companies. And at that time, I say, well, it's been, well, 10 to 15, I can't even remember now, almost 15 years. But there wasn't a lot of that type of work. And it was a relatively new thing to work from home and do that type of work. But now, especially since of last year, there is virtually every type of industry having some type of work from home opportunity. Whether that is you are a full-time employee at the company, or you are considered an independent contractor and you work by projects, which technically you are self-employed, which is what I am. So I work for many different companies doing many different projects. And it's, if you're a person that are looking to work from home and you like the independence and the flexibility, the difference between, of course, working for a company and still working from home, you're still pretty much, for the most part, on a schedule, whether that's 8 to 5, 9 to 5, or what have you. But independent contractors, you work those projects, or you can find jobs that the hours are very flexible, or you pick up the work whenever it's available. So you kind of work your own schedule. So depending on the type of person you are, some people like that, to know that I can work 5 hours, 8 hours, and I'm done. Some people, they need that flexibility, especially if you have children, small children at home. You may need to work around them. So long story short, there are so many places and opportunities to get that. And one great company is called Appen Global. And they mainly are an AI, which is artificial intelligence company. And so most of their projects or tasks are centered around jobs that are training bots, robots. Your, long story short, example, your Alexas and your Siris and all of those, they have to be trained. And there are a series of tasks and jobs that um, are available for those, and they all of them don't require the STEM career or the STEM degree. There are some that you just need the aptitude to be able to do it, but there's a range of them. So it's a great company, but there are a plethora of others that are like that. Or like I said, in any industry now, if you want to work from home, you can. You can. There is it's an abundance. And more companies are doing it now because it's a win-win. It's they found really that the employees are more productive at home. Now, now let me disclaimer, everybody does not like working from home. I know some women said it drove them crazy. Literally, they need the interaction of people. So I'm not saying that's a one size fit all, but if this is something you really want to do and you're interested in, it's available.
Awesome. Awesome. So, with that being said, I just will show one more time the resources or a few of them. If you didn't catch it, I have Appen Global, appen.com slash jobs displayed on the screen, the SBA and several other grants that you can obtain through the federal government. Also, I'll mention here um, that there is a grant that FedEx offers, the 2021 submission for the FedEx Small Business Grants are closed, but voting is still open. So I encourage you to go to the FedEx.com Small Business Grant Contest so that you can go and find a small business that you believe in and help them get to that next place and potentially win. I believe it's $50,000 is the prize and a year's worth of services from FedEx.
Great.
Yeah, yeah. So, anything else on education, the workforce, or economics?
I just wanted to kind of just touch on that Girls Who Code camp for um, young girls, I think 10th through 12th grade. This is a free virtual camp that will be happening this summer. Two-week virtual camp. It's completely free, and it's teaching young girls to code. And there's also, for those that qualify financially, a $300 stipend for these girls. So not only is the camp free, there's a potential for them to put a little change in their pocket and learn how to code. So hey, great camp, jump on it.
Also, we'll mention the Common Black College app.
Yes, yes. Now that was new to me. It may have been around for, but it was new to, and I was like, wow. Because of course, the general Common App is where you can apply to multiple colleges and at one time and generally pay one fee. Well, there is now for the 60 member HBCUs, one Common App, pay one moderate fee, and you can apply to all of them at one time because those college fees can add up, and a lot of times that keeps young people from applying to multiple colleges because the applications are expensive. So this is great. This is great.
And also for those of us who are older, even younger, the Girl Trek Black History Boot Camp is a 21-day boot camp that has 21 days worth of podcasts and also actual live phone calls broadcast. And each day highlights a different pioneer. This time, I think it's Black woman cosmonauts is the theme, but each day represents a different Black woman pioneer in history. And this program is structured to encourage you to walk while you do it. Walking for exercise, walking for health and wellness, but also walking to take back our communities while you learn some history. So Yes, yes, yes. So you can sign up for the Black History Boot Camp at blackhistorybootcamp.com through Girl Trek. And if you miss the phone broadcast, you can also catch them anywhere podcasts are available.
And I just want to say, audience, drop down some comments if you know some resources for women or that are by women. So chime in, please.
And I'll show our first comment of the night. We were talking about supporting businesses. Dorothy Taylor says that is very important to support our own. As a retired businesswoman, if you don't get that support, your business will be forced to close. And
So
that
true.
is indeed a very real thing, especially in today's climate.
Most
Thank you
definitely.
for that comment. So, moving on, we've talked about the mind of women. Let's talk a little bit about the body of women, health and fitness. So, in terms of women's health, there are a lot of different stressors and things that are affecting um, women in general. So we just pulled a couple of them to discuss today. Mom, what was yours?
Um, Heart disease and hypertension, and even more so in the Black community, I will say. But that those are what you call those silent killers that we really don't know are happening in our body. When you said stressors, stress can show up in your body in so many ways, and you don't even realize it. And again, women, we take on a lot, and sometimes we have to do a lot, and we can go and go and go and not realize that our bodies are it's taking a toll on us. And so, like I said, heart disease, I think, is one of the number one killers of women.
Mhm.
And so that's one of my, kind of pet peeves or concerns, that we get ourselves checked and, just try to start living a healthier lifestyle. And I'm talking to myself. And especially, as you get older, there are things that you just have to do that you didn't have to do when you were younger. And so that's exercise, and I will say about exercise. We were talking the other day.
Mhm.
Find something that you like to do, because me, if I don't like the exercise or the type of exercise, I'm not going to keep it up. That's just bottom line. And so I've tried a whole lot of things, and now I'm doing yoga, and I actually like it. And seeing some benefits from it. So find something that you actually like to do and stick with that, and hopefully you'll have some results. But that's just my little take on the exercise, because I'm not a walker, I'm not a runner. So
Well, yeah, I mean, it's important. And to kind of speak to the importance of that, I'm going to try, you guys, to bring up a quick graphic. You guys bear with me. As you see, we are consistently trying to upgrade our technology here. So let's see if I get this right on the first try.
you will.
Yes. So, heart disease is the leading cause of death for women in the United States. The leading cause of death, killing 299,578 women in 2017. So, just to preface this, this is the CDC's data. Um, but that was about one in every female death,
Mm.
one in every five.
That's staggering.
It is staggering. And to your point, Mom, so many factors, be it stress, be it nutrition, be it lifestyle. We tend to take care of everybody but us.
Mhm.
And we put ourselves last and we feel guilty about doing anything as it pertains to our health, um, and wellness. We can't do that because we're seeing here it's literally killing us and it's killing a lot of us.
And then I think about just last year was so much. You know, they talk about the freshman 15. I think it was the pandemic 15. Just about everybody gained because we were in, and so Tripsin is we call it Tripsin and tracing here in the South. People Tripsin and tracing to the refrigerator or what have you. And so, like you said, all of that does contribute. So we just have to be more conscious, but also self care, just self love, self care. Um, and because we're needed, and our families and friends want us around. I want
Absolutely.
you around a long time, friends.
And I want you to be around a long time, mother. Yes, yes. So my biggest, most pressing health issue, or the one that's kind of near to my heart right now, is maternal mortality. And
Mm.
I'll try to bring up another statistic here. About 700 women still die each year in the United States from complications due to pregnancy, according to the CDC. But more telling, if I can find it, American Indian, Alaska Native, and African American women are 2 to 3 times more likely to die of pregnancy related complications than white women.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
So, this issue is something that's been coming to the forefront more and more. A friend of a friend recently died during childbirth, and this person was actually a physician, a medical professional. You would think in a developed country like ours that that no longer happened to people, but it does. So the CDC has actually developed an initiative called, hang on, guys, it is live television. Hear Her. Um, it's an initiative called Hear Her that is looking to stop and or slow down the growth of that number of deaths and deaths during childbirth and pregnancy related complications. So, and as a person that is of childbearing age, I hear a lot of the horror stories about people going to the doctor and saying, I think there's a problem, whether it's childbirth or anything else, but I think there's a problem. I feel like there's a problem. And that person, that woman being ignored, and it cost her and or her child her life. For example, the U.S. Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality says that preeclampsia, which is one of the leading causes of maternal death, and eclampsia, which are the associated seizures, are 60% more common in African American than in white women and more severe. As a brown girl who is looking to bear children, it's disconcerting sometimes that that could happen to me, and happen to me at a 2 to 3 times more likely rate. So healthcare advocacy is very much top of mind.
Well, you know, what do you think attributes to the disparity in those numbers? What is making it, attributing to the fact that brown girls are dying at a rate faster than white women?
First of all, there's a few different things. Access to healthcare continues to be an issue in our community. Just getting people to the doctor to develop that kind of relationship is number one. Number two, I would say um, lack of representation.
Mhm.
We are growing in terms of the number of us who are becoming healthcare professionals and going into the medical field, but we're not there yet, and we're not there, I don't think, proportionally to the number of black and brown girls who are having children. Um, Going into, especially the higher level um, practices. And then number three, there have been studies shown that um, medical professionals, some of them assume that Black women in particular have higher tolerances of pain. Just different fallacies like that. There's still a lot of bias. There's still a lot of bias that causes women to be disbelieved when they present for these types of issues. I've experienced it to a degree, um, and I have seen it also, just having visited the emergency room with friends and seen how differently they were treated versus, and I'm not just talking about the actual medical treatment, the bedside manner, how they were treated as human beings was different.
Mhm. Mhm. When you specifically said higher levels of pain, I think about that study or that practice that they were doing back in, I guess, slavery time or whatever, or even right after that, doing surgeries and operations and things on us without anesthesia, but they were basically, um, what is the word? Not investigating, but
They were experimenting.
experimenting. Exactly. Oh, and they said they did that because we have a higher level of pain threshold. Wow.
It's just an utter assumption of less humanity. And to quote the CDC's words, it's unacceptable.
It's unacceptable. Mm.
So, education, going back to STEM, the sciences, technology, engineering, and math, getting more people who have that aptitude and desire to serve the medical community to do so. I was watching Bell Collective. I don't know if any of you guys watch it, but one of the ladies on the show is a dentist in the Jackson area, and she's opening a practice, first to have her own dental practice, but also to open doors for young people who want to go into particularly the field of dentistry, but you know, removing barriers like paying for their exams, the tests that they have to take to get into dental school, so on and so forth. Just opening those doors so that we have more people who are less biased and more culturally sensitive.
Saying that too, and I would,
Mhm.
support and I've heard from physicians that Meharry, I'll say,
Yeah,
medical school is more supportive of us because it is designed, was designed for us by us. So if you have a young person that is leaning into that medical field, you know, highly suggest a black medical school. Highly suggest a Harry, or is there another one? There
I don't
predominantly.
think so. You guys, drop in the comments if you know of another historically black medical school. I can't think of one, but
I
hey,
can't.
Nashville's a happening city, so send your young people here.
Yes, yes.
But the rest of y'all don't come because we full.
Just send them to go to schools that they can go somewhere else. No.
Yeah, yeah. We
Yeah,
full
no,
up
yeah.
here.
Okay.
And just looking at our comments, regular checkups and second opinions. Make sure you ask questions from your doctor and demand some answers. I
Yeah.
agree. I absolutely agree. So you also mentioned fitness, and we've talked about like internal health care, but your health care also involves your nutrition. It involves, your skin, your hair, all of you physically in terms of your physical health. So just to highlight a couple of resources, the Office on Women's Health, which is an extension of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, has resources. The Black Women's Health Imperative is a 38-year-old operation, and it is the only, I believe, the only national organization dedicated solely to improving the health and wellness of Black women and girls. Black Girls Run is another fitness resource that encourages women to get out to walk and run to combat the obesity epidemic and the conditions that come with a sedentary lifestyle. And I also recommend Brown Skin Derm on Instagram. She is a black dermatologist who gives great tips and information on brown skin. And the Curly Chemist on YouTube, whose channel is dedicated to the science of black hair.
Awesome. 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 Awesome.
Any other thoughts on health and wellness from you, Mom?
Um, no, just again, take care of yourself. It's not a selfish thing. Like you said, we as women, we will put ourselves dead last. But for our wholeness, mind, body, and soul, um, and to be any help or any use to anybody else, we have to be good to ourselves first.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as we talk, as we um, go through this discussion, of course, we've pulled some of the issues that we think are important to us, but do let us know in the comments what you think are the most pressing issues for women today. So, moving on, we've talked about the mind of the woman, we've talked about the body of women, keeping our physical selves in good order. Talk about the soul of women. We want to deal a little bit with um, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. What do you think are the major drivers and issues concerning those areas from for women?
Um, it still goes back to I'll say stress again. Stress shows up physically, but then if we are dwelling on things in our mind,
Mhm,
or our minds are preoccupied, or just the sometimes just the daily living, because
mhm.
life, I was just saying, life is hard. Life can be hard. It's good, but it can be hard. And just the challenges we go through, that can take a mental drain. That can take an emotional toll. Relationships, from family. Then there's work stresses going on. You got to deal with that. then even if you let's say you had some physical challenges in your body, all that's still weighing on you mentally. So then we just our minds drive our bodies. Then it starts to manifest in our body. So that taking care of our mental health is just as important, or even more so, than our physical, because a lot of times how we are thinking, so the body goes as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think we talked about this, we've touched on this before, and we want to do an entire show on mental health, but it's just one of those things we tend not to talk about until it's
There's a
way
stigma.
too late.
There's a stigma behind it, and
There's
especially in our community.
definitely, definitely, and there's so much pressure to have it all together. There's a lot of pressure, um, and almost guilt placed upon people that are not okay. Like it's not okay
Not
okay to be not okay. And go ahead, mom.
And I was just thinking, we're on social media, but social media plays a part in it, because
It
people
absolutely
only going to
does.
show you the good stuff on social media, and everybody's life is not like that 24/7. And so we're measuring ourselves by something that's not total reality. So I'm sorry, but
No,
that's
no,
that.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead. I think that plays a lot into the emotional and the spiritual portion of that. Talking about self care. There are different ways to do it. There's more to self care than bubble baths, um, and spa days, even though I like both of those things.
Like both of those two.
But I'll tell you my favorites in just a moment. But there's more than that. Digital detoxes are necessary sometimes. Sometimes it's just necessary to unplug, to stop watching the news coverage, to stop scrolling down your timeline. And the number one thing I did was stop reading the comment section on Facebook. That's a scary place. Comments are scary.
Oh goodness, the comment.
Not this comment
I
section.
know it, yeah, but I know what
Come
you're saying.
on, y'all.
Yeah,
But
our comments are wholesome, healthy. They're encouraging, invigorating, all of those great words.
there's some good wholesome comments over here at PT Gems, but some of these other places is no man's land. But really though, we do, and just because of the climate of the past year, a lot of people have missed connection. They've not been able to do a lot of the things that help them preserve their mental health, like be with friends, physically receive a hug. We took that for granted.
Mhm. That's so true. So true.
Physically attending church, just different things like that have really been challenging, but it's necessary. It's necessary to find ways wherever you are to um, holistically treat yourself.
Yes, yes. Prayer for me is my number one, way to preserve my mental state, giving it all to God, and releasing, because really that's what you need to release. If you cannot talk to someone, you can always talk to him. And so, prayer is a great thing. Reading, you know, um, if you like to read inspirational books, or just books that you enjoy, you know, or anything really. Um, and then, like Fran was saying, those niceties that we like to relax, whether that's bubble baths and spas and hot tea. So
Well, speaking, you mentioned writers. You mentioned liking to read. Who are your favorite inspirational writers? What do you read when your soul needs to be happy, or your spirit and your mind?
Um, one of my favorite authors is Stormy. I never can pronounce her name correctly on the end. Martin, is it how you
Stormy
yeah,
O'Martin.
Stormy Martin? She is the author of many books: The Praying Wife, The Praying Parent, The Praying Husband. Those, and I like her style of writing, and it's light, but at the same time, it gets great nuggets. Um, I think I talked once before. Michelle Obama, her book Becoming is very, very good. Um, Joyce Meyer, believe it or not, is one of my favorites. So I like those types of books that are very inspirational and practical.
Mm-hmm.
And I love autobiographies. I like reading about the lives of other people. So those are some of my those are the types of books, but those are also some of my favorite authors.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, I like a lot of the ones you just named. One thing I will recommend, uh, I
Oh, pause for the pause. Okay, this is women's
speaking of health.
speaking of health. I'm being ready to spontaneously combust in this jacket. Any women that can relate to the pause, just raise your hand. Just say yes in the comment. Okay, go ahead. Proceed. I'm sorry.
Yes, we're gonna pause for the pause. Oh goodness.
I'm sorry. I should
Hey,
go ahead. Your favorite authors
it's the
because
state of affairs. My favorite authors, I enjoy, Stormy's books, but I also, in terms of daily devotional, I love the U Version Bible app. And I like their selection of devotionals in terms of my daily reading. There's something out there pretty much for everybody, of various lengths, and there are functions in there where I can track my reading, I can share with other people, and we can study together. So there's a lot of benefit to that app. I love autobiographies, and one recent nonfiction book that I did read was Plan a Happy Life by Stephanie Fleming, which is an awesome workbook style thing to help you find the things that make you happy, and give you kind of a balanced life, to help you kind of work through you. Yeah, yeah. So those are kind of my top of mind. But I love nonfiction. I love a good biography.
yes, that is my genre is nonfiction, nonfiction. And when you say devotion, I generally start my day with the daily bread, our
Mm.
daily bread, and I like that devotion.
What other self-care things do you recommend?
Um, it was something my beautician did this year, and I said, "Wow, every woman needs to do that." And it's nothing new, but it was just something. On her birthday, she went on a trip by herself, and she went to the coast just for a couple of days, and she got her what is it, B&B, not
Mhm.
B&B, Airbnb. And she took her some books and puzzles and paint, and didn't do anything special. So I really didn't have an agenda, but she enjoyed it. If you can do something like that, do it, even if it means a hotel that's in your city,
Mhm.
just somewhere that you can just relax and take time for just in your own thoughts and your own feelings and your own. And I thought it was a great idea. I says, I'm going to do that.
I'm a strong proponent of the solo vacay.
Yes, I know. I
I
know.
believe in it. I believe in it. Um, Yeah, I mean, staycations, definitely wonderful. I love to create. My planning time is a form of self care just to help me clear my head and also do something creative. I like to sew, so on and so forth.
Mhm.
Yes. So there's many other things. For some people, it's a bath bomb from Lush. For some people, it's just pulling yourself out of the norm for a little while and getting away.
Mhm.
One of
Mhm.
our comments here, some things on Facebook will take you to places you do not need to go. OMG, shut it down sometimes. And she is totally right about that. So, looking here at our comments, making sure we didn't miss anything pertaining to our business discussion. If you are trying to get a loan, do not fail to fill all of your papers out. The downfall of us, we do not follow through taking care of our paperwork. So, TCB, take care of business.
So true. This is so true. So
All of
true.
the resources in the world don't matter if you don't take advantage of them.
Don't take advantage of it. That's true. That is true. And sometimes it is a little difficult, but you definitely have to follow through. You got to follow through.
Absolutely. So,
Anybody.
Mom, did we miss anything else on the general state of affairs?
Um, no, we kind of covered, like I said, the mind, the body, and the soul. And like I said, just Facebook audience or YouTube audience, even if when we are off, drop down and put some resources because this is to help us and to
Hmm.
help everyone. So shout out your favorite woman entrepreneur. If you know someone, a business that you support and you feel good about, let us know, and we will shout them out. Because we got to lift each other up. We got to lift each other up.
Absolutely. And I would be remiss on this topic if you are struggling with your mental health and you're having an issue. If you can't physically go see somebody, there are many online resources now. Two of them I can think of off the top are BetterHelp and Talkspace. There's also therapy for Black girls. Um, there's also several digital therapy apps like the Shine app, the Safe Place, and
Mhm.
we'll be dropping perhaps now kind of through the end of the month different resources to the Sweet Tea Gems pages so that you'll have access to these at all times. But if you need help, no matter whether it's mentally, physically, or emotionally or spiritual, reach out. We have to be better together.
That's it. That's it. We're all in this together.
We are. We are. So now let's go ahead and talk about the next sidebar session. Mom, what are we talking about?
The next, um, well, I was getting ready to skip to the live sidebar session, which will be April 15th. And that month is autism month. And we will have preferably some panelists on that will be that topic as it pertains to uh, children and maybe even adults, but definitely children, and how that affects them, or how they are able to cope, and even some experts in that field. So that will be our next live sidebar session, April the 15th, autism. Autism speaks, as they say. The one before that, this is live, and in our calendar, we're getting. full, so I have to remember. It should put me on the spot. Oh, Facebook, why? Don't be smiling. Oh, Money Matters. That will
Yes.
be. She's going, That's going to be April the 2nd. That will be and we will be premiering on YouTube. And that is going to be on Money Matters. And we'll be talking about balling on a budget and how you can save in different areas of your life. Save money in grocery shopping or home decor or clothing or whatever, how just to manage your finances but save money. So tune in if you like to save and you're on a budget like I am. Yeah, you want to tune in.
Yes, yes. A lot of people are recovering. Clearly they're recovering because the lines are out the door at Ross and they cleared the shelves at TJ Maxx. Somebody is out there getting stimulated.
Yes. They're getting stimulated and they stimulating.
Everybody waiting on the stimulus check.
Stimulus.
So yeah, we'll be dealing with money. It's a phenomenon happening right now, but it's not new to us. It's true to us. So absolutely. So as always, we want to hear from you. We like having you on our broadcast. We like to see your comments in our chat. We like just knowing that you're here joining us. We also want to hear from you during the week. So if you want to continue to follow us, you can check us out on the Sweet Tea Gems Facebook page, the Sweet Tea Gems YouTube page, where all of our broadcasts will be, and also the Sweet Tea Gems Instagram page as well. Sometimes we'll have some fun stories where we ask questions and interact with you. So be sure to follow us throughout the week. And if you want to get in touch with us or you have topics you want to cover, email us and let's talk at sweettgm.com or drop us a DM at one of those other channels. So as always, we thank you for being with us on this broadcast. This has been very educational, even for me. What about you?
Definitely so. I learned a lot. It's been great. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as we mentioned before, the measure of a society is in how it treats its women. So just looking at the current state of affairs and where we're going in the future is bright, but it'll be brighter when we support each other. And when one of us comes up and shines, the rest of us do too.
That's right.
So with that being said, Gems, we want you to shine on, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.